Humiliated after Sarah Sanders schools her on how calendars work. At a press briefing on Capitol Hill, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders schooled a liberal reporter on the way calendars work. Afterwards, the reporter left utterly humiliated as Sanders once again emerged victoriously from a sparring match with the media. You'll love this. There has been some speculation as of late that President Donald Trump is looking to replace Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. However, at this point, the chatter is entirely speculation and nothing more. That didn't stop reporters from pestering Sanders on the matter last week, though. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said at Thursday's press briefing that Secretary of State Rex Tillerson will close out the year just like reporters because that's how the calendar works. Reporters pressed Sanders throughout the briefing about reports that President Donald Trump is planning to replace Tillerson with CIA Director Mike Pompeo and nominate Senator Tom Cotton, Arkansas, to head the CIA. Sanders responded that if Trump ever loses confidence in someone, they will no longer serve in his administration and that Trump and Tillerson will continue to work together to close out an incredible year. Source: Conservative Fighters. Look, as we've said many times before, as many of you love to write these type of stories, when the president loses confidence in someone, they will no longer serve in the capacity that they are in, said Sanders. The president was here today with the Secretary of State. They engaged in a foreign leader visit. And, they are continuing to work together to close out what we have seemed to be an incredible year, she added. At the end of the briefing, Sanders was asked to clarify what she meant by saying that Tillerson will close out the year, although that much should have been pretty obvious. If you have a journalism degree, it goes without saying that you should be intimately familiar with the way the calendar works. Sadly, though, that cannot be said for one reporter, who seemingly could not grasp what Sanders meant by the end of the year. Sanders could not have been any more clear, but still, that reporter wasn't content to let the matter go, asking, "You said that Tillerson would help to close out a successful year. Are you saying that he will close out the year? Will he serve beyond that?" At that point, Sanders was left with no choice but to humiliate the reporter in front of all of her colleagues by educating her on the way the calendar works, something which a journalist should most certainly already be familiar with. In terms of the Secretary of State, I think I've spoken about that pretty extensively and answered that question, Sanders responded. We are all closing out the year. You guys are closing out the year in your news network. We don't set the calendar. That's something that happened a few centuries ago, she added. The year is going to end whether we like it or not, Sanders continued. We will all close it out and do the best job for the American people in that process, she said. I don't mean anything by it more than that, concluded Trump's spokeswoman. I'm closing out the year. You guys are. I know most of you are doing end-of-the-year stories because that's how the calendar works. This is pathetic. There are grade school children who know how the calendar works and how to identify the end of the year. These so-called reporters are nothing more than a waste of space and oxygen on Capitol Hill. Thank you for watching this video. What do you think about this? Share this on Facebook and Twitter along with your comments.